Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmadu wa salli ala Rasulil Kareem. Dear students, we were discussing about the biochemistry chapter. We have discussed in detail about the first two topics, that are carbohydrates and lipids. Now we are moving forward towards our third topic, that is proteins. Any of a large group of nitrogen containing organic compounds that are essential part cells consist of polymers of amino acids. Basically, proteins are nitrogen containing organic compounds that is very much essential for our body, for our health, for our growth. Without proteins, no life will exist. Basically, amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. The unit of proteins are amino acids. Proteins are essential in diet of animals for growth and for repair of tissues, and can be obtained from meat and eggs and meals and legumes, etc., etc., etc. So this is the just brief introduction of proteins. We'll discuss about proteins in detail in the further slides. So proteins are the macromolecules. Macro mean large molecules that contain nitrogen, carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. The basic difference between carbohydrates and proteins is the presence of nitrogen in the proteins and absence of nitrogen in carbohydrates. Functions: rate of cell processes, cellular structures, controls of substances in and out of cells, fight disease. Example of proteins are hemoglobin in blood, collagen, enzymes, and insulin. There are a lot of sources, functions, and examples in your book. I have just mentioned few important ones. You have to learn all of them. You have to learn all the sources of proteins and all the use of proteins mentioned in your book. Hemoglobin is the protein present in red blood cell in the form of chains that carry oxygen molecules to different parts of body from lungs. Proteins and amino acid formation. Proteins are made up of monomers of amino acid held together by peptide bond. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. They're the basic unit of protein. I have told about the condensation reaction in previous lecture, in which two monomers react with each other, and as a result water molecule eliminates. So basically, talking about the structure of amino acid consists of three parts: amino group, that is NH2, carboxyl group, that is C double bond OH, and R group. R may be variable group. R may be hydrogen, maybe carbon, maybe long chain of carbon. And also, as carbon has 4 valency, so here hydrogen is bonded to carbon. But in some cases, in some nomenclature, we do not mention hydrogen, do not write hydrogen. So this one is amino group, this one is carboxylic group, and this is R group or side chain. R may be variable group, maybe hydrogen, or maybe other atom as well. This is basically, this amino acid is basic in nature, which means it can accept a proton. There is lone pair on nitrogen atom, so it donates its lone pair to hydrogen, so proton, electron deficient proton, and Zwitter ion is produced. Proteins, examples of R group. There are 20 different types of amino acids found in nature. Different proteins are determined by the types of amino acid connected together. All amino acids are same except for the R group. R group gives amino acid different properties. Like these 20 different amino acids are responsible for making thousands different types of proteins. Like, for example, if we replace R group by CH2 and SH, we obtain an amino acid cysteine. Similarly, if there is only H in place of R, amino acid glycine is produced. In zwitterine, I have forgot to mention that this nitrogen, the lone pair on this nitrogen atom will, the nitrogen atom will donate its lone pair of electron to this hydrogen, to this proton, because there is resonance between C double bond O and this O. So zwitterine is an ion. Zwitterine is that compound that have both positive and negative charges. Like nitrogen, here nitrogen has positive charge, and in this oxygen there is negative charge, which is mistakenly removed or erased. Zwitterine is an ion having both charges, positive and negative, on the same molecule. So this proton having 0 electron has been shifted towards this nitrogen atom, forming NH3 positive. So don't be confused that carboxylic acid has no hydrogen, because this proton has been shifted to NH3 positive. Similarly, if we replace R group by a simple chain or 3 carbon compounds, amino acid protein is formed. So in simple words, you don't have to mention, you don't have to learn about these enzymes in detail. Just remember its names. And remember that by changing R group from any atom or any group of atoms, we get new amino acid. And such new amino acid results in the formation of new protein. Okay, the same slide again. H from the carboxylic acid has been shifted from to N lone pair on N, and R is variable group. R can be hydrogen atom or carbon atom or long chain of carbon atom. Okay, there is R group, functional group. Most of useful behavior of organic compounds come from the functional groups attached to the carbon. A functional group is a special cluster of atoms that perform a useful function. For example, OH is alcoholic functional group. If OH is attached in place of R, the amino acid will be hydrophilic, means it will be water lover, it will be dissolved in water. Similarly, if R has been replaced by this amino group NH2, the amino acid will be basic. Similar is the case with other functional groups. So functional group is an atom or group of atom that gives special characteristic to organic compounds. These are the different R groups. Just change the R group by any other group and you will get a new amino acid, which will result in the formation of new protein. Here the structure of protein. Long chains of amino acid are connected by peptide bond, which are called polypeptides. For example, this is an amino acid, glycine, and alanine and cysteine. So here H2O is removed by the condensation reaction. Like these two hydrogen and this oxygen together form H2O and is removed as a result of condensation reaction. So this N is directly linked with oxygen, and this is known as peptide bond, shown by a red line. Similarly, these two hydrogens and this oxygen atom all are removed in the form of H2O molecule, and oxygen is connected with nitrogen, which is shown by a red line. These are known as peptide bond, and this molecule is known as polypeptide. As there are two peptide bonds, so this molecule is also known as dipeptide, which indicates that there are two peptide bonds. Similarly, such such reaction occurs, such condensation reaction occurs among thousands of different amino acid, and long chain of protein is formed, resulting in the elimination of different water molecules. These are some examples of amino acid I have just mentioned. There is no need to remember all of them. Now, the fourth and the last topic of this chapter is nucleic acid. Any of various macromolecules composed of nucleotide chain that are vital constituent of all living cells. Nucleic acid are basically the macromolecules that are very essential for living cell, for the survival. No organism can survive without nucleic acid. Nucleic acids are basically the macromolecules that contain hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, oxygen, and phosphorus. They're made up of monomers of nucleotide. What are nucleotides? Nucleotide is the basic unit of nucleic acid, and nucleic acid like DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and RNA ribonucleic acid. These are nucleic acids. So nucleotide is the basic unit of nucleic acid. There are three parts of nucleotide. Number one is phosphate, the second one is deoxyribose sugar, and the third one is nitrogenous base. This is deoxyribose sugar. Deoxy means it has one oxygen less. Similarly, this is phosphate group, and this one is nitrogenous base. Function of nucleic acid. The basic function of nucleic acid in DNA and RNA carry genetic material, carry codes to make proteins. These two are the major function of nucleic acid. This is the simplest schematic diagram of one nucleotide. Like in middle there is sugar, pentose sugar. At one side, at the 5 side, there is phosphate group. At the 3 side, there is nitrogenous base or organic base. Such thousands of nucleotides link with each other in opposite manner to form nucleic acid, or in other words, to form DNA and RNA. These are the examples of nucleic acid, DNA and RNA. The difference between DNA and RNA is that DNA consists of one oxygen less than RNA. Similarly, RNA comprises of single chain, while DNA consists of two chains that coil on each other, twist on each other, just like ladder, as shown in this diagram. Function of DNA: carry codes to make proteins, carry genetic codes. Function of RNA is to make proteins from code DNA carries. Basically, there is code on the DNA. Like, for example, this is code CAU. 3 nucleotide make up a code. Let's say this type of codes will make protein that will make black color of eye, let's suppose. So the person having black color eye, his DNA will consist of the codes that will produce black color protein, suppose, for example. Similarly, the person whose DNA consists of the codes that results in the formation of longer height, such person will have long height. Similarly, DNA and RNA carry genetic codes, like it is involved in inheritance. It carries message from generation to generation, which result in the similarities between families, similarity in voice, similarity in shape, similarity in height, etc. For example, all the people of South Africa will have black color. Similarly, all the people of America will have white color because there is similarity between their genes. So organic compound composed up of CHO, for example, sugar, starch, cellulose, and the function is to release energy for the cell. Carbohydrates, I'm just revising. Similarly, lipid is an organic compound that is also composed up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, for example, fats, oil, and waxes, and the function is to store and release more and more energy for the cell. Protein is an organic compound that consists of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, as well as nitrogen. For example, the enzymes function is to build cell parts made of smaller part called amino acid. Okay, Allah Hafiz. I hope you have understood all the topics. If there is any confusion, you can let me know through my Gmail ID or any other social media. Okay, Allah Hafiz. Thank you so much. Take care.